Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadi Tamastu Madhya Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And see if we can share the screen now. August 2nd. Okay, that's good. Move this one over here. And we're good to go here. Our first topic, as expected, Yoga Sutras. We are still in chapter 3. Verse 47. Okay, I see what it says here. Through samyama, on perception, essential nature, egoity, constitution, a purposiveness, control of the senses is acquired. Patanjali presents a 5-step exploration of the senses and what they, something here, what they perceive, moving from gross to subtle, from the grasping of an object by the senses to the subtle elements of sense perception, to their relation to egoism, all the way to his repeated insight that the very purpose of the senses is to provide experience, joy, and sorrow by which the soul matures toward liberation. As before, constitution is a reference to the 3 gunas, which underpin all of Prakriti, the cosmos. This is a foundational sutra inasmuch as the yogi is striving in order to control the senses. Well, this one's pretty deep. Let's see what Gurudeva has to say. Maybe that'll be simpler here. Control of the mind builds the intuitive nature. Okay. By directing the flow of thought, perceptively discriminating between actions, aware of attending reactions, the yoga student soon learns the use of his actinic power. In order to hold and expand the consciousness, this power must be brought into use. And when it flows through the intellect, it automatically changes the chemistry of the intellect while it begins to build the intuitive nature. Okay, well, that one's somewhat easier. That when it flows through the intellect, it automatically changes the chemistry of the intellect. Verse 48. From that comes quickness of mind, metaphysical perception, and mastery over primordial matter. Patanjali describes 3 additional powers attained by the yogi who conquers the senses. Swiftness of thought is one, sometimes interpreted as the ability of the body to move as quickly as the mind. Perceptions that do not rely on the physicality of the senses is another, such that the yogi can perceive in ways that do not involve the normal sense organs. He enjoys a direct, unmediated link to things, a form of pure knowing. Finally, he has mastery of the underlying forces of the universe, pradhana, a kind of omnipotence. Gurudeva, as soon as we can understand awareness detached from that which it is aware of, we have a vibrant energy, tremendous drive. Tremendous willpower is released from within us, and we live with the feeling that we can do anything that we want to do, almost as quickly as we want to do it. We want things to happen now, for we vividly see the area where they already exist, within the force fields of the mind itself. That's a good way to make something happen, huh? You vividly see the area where they already exist, within the force fields of the mind itself. That's what the practice of affirmation helps you tune into. Verse 49. By merely discerning the distinction between Purusha and the luminous mind, one gains omnipotence and omniscience. In this sutra, the sage notes a great milestone for the yogi, the full realization of the difference between the highest aspect of the cognitive faculty, known as buddhi, and Purusha, the witnessing self. This brings forth the most mirific of the yogi's siddhis, the ability to manipulate all of manifest reality and to know all things. As with the earlier powers, it is all premised on the principle that mastery of the subtle forces, the purest aspect of mind, is key to controlling their grosser expressions. And Gurudeva, the three bonds or malas are given by Lord Shiva to help and protect us as we unfold. In other words, we start out thinking we have nothing to do with God, rather than thinking we are God. So if we thought we are God, we would never get involved in the world. So that fact has to be hidden from us. Yet God Shiva's all-knowingness may be experienced for brief periods by the meditator who turns within to his own essence. Those of you who have experienced contemplation know the depth from which I am speaking. You have had a taste of your true self. It has tasted like nothing that you have ever come in contact with before. It has filled and thrilled and permeated your whole being, even if you have only remained in that state of contemplation not longer than 60 seconds. Out of it you have gained a great knowing, a knowing that you could refer back to, a knowing that will bear the fruit of wisdom if you relate future life experiences to that knowing, a knowing greater than you could acquire at any university or institute of higher learning. Can you only try to gain a clear intellectual concept of realizing the self that you felt permeating through you and through all form in your state of contemplation? That is your next step. Verse 50. Through detachment even from this, and the eradication of the seeds of all defects, liberation is attained. And my comment, even the marvelous attainment of all power and all knowing mentioned in the previous sutra must be renounced for the attainment of perfect freedom, liberation. So that's very interesting. The goal is not to be all-knowing or all-powerful. You have to renounce that if you experience it. In addition, the yogi must destroy the seeds, the sources of all imperfections, these being the kleshas, the mental aberrations, karmic fetters, and unresolved experiences of the mind that linger in the subconscious until brought into the light for resolution. Moksha, says Gurudeva, also called kaivalya, perfect inner freedom, is the soul's release from samsara, the cycle of birth and death, attained after dynamic and personal yogic realization of Parashiva and resolution of all karmas. So that's something that gets left out of people's thinking. All I have to do is realize the self. I will achieve moksha. Untrue. We have to resolve all karmas, and we have to fulfill all dharmas. So all of that is required. Having known the absolute, there is no fuller realization, no greater knowing, no higher experience. Even after self-realization and liberation, the soul body continues to evolve in this and other worlds till it merges with the primal soul as a drop of water merges with its source, the ocean. Again, that's an important part of our philosophy. It is even a realized being, when he passes into the inner worlds, doesn't disappear. The soul body continues to evolve. Verse 51. This is a cute one. When summoned by celestial beings, there should be no attachment or pride, for this could renew undesirable consequences. So I'll tell you a story. It's somewhat related. Swami spends many years in the monastery trying to be humble. He cleans toilets on weekends, cooks food when he doesn't have to, tries really hard to be a humble person and becomes a pretty humble person. Then he goes off to teach. And group after group tells him, "Oh, Swami, you're the best teacher we ever had." What happens? He can build spiritual pride. He got rid of his pride, but now he can build spiritual pride. So this is the same thing. If you get inwardly, if you were to be called into a session with inner plane beings, you should not feel proud of your accomplishments, for this could renew undesirable consequences. So we always have to maintain humility. Hindu cosmology assumes the existence of three worlds, the physical, the divinic, and the celestial, sometimes called the Shiva Loka. It is regarded that the progress of each soul is overseen by the beings of the two higher worlds, guided toward liberation. Thus, when a yogi enters the higher spheres, he is acknowledged by these guides who welcome him into their world. Being praised by the gods themselves, of course, can be exhilarating and ego-enhancing. Here the yogi is admonished from allowing this to go to his head, which would only feed the ego and bring new obstructions on his path. So we should remain humble, unattached to even divine acclaim. Proper response to such accolades is to intone, Sarvam Shivamayam, Shiva is doing it all. So of course, one way to avoid pride, be it for material accomplishments, being great in math, spiritual accomplishments, being great in meditation, is when someone tries to praise you to defer the attainment to the teacher. Oh, anything you see in me, it's only because I had such a good teacher. He or she is really the master of all of this. So you defer it. That's a good way to stay humble. It's also a good way to test someone's humility. Praise them for an accomplishment, see if they take credit or they give the credit to their teacher or to the deity. See what Gurudeva has to say. Spiritual pride. The wise say pride goes before a fall. And the still wiser know that spiritual pride is the most difficult pride to deal with, to eliminate, to rise above in a lifetime. The spiritually proud never open themselves to a Satguru. The mystically humble do. The advice is, having once attained a breakthrough of light within the head, wisdom tells us, remain wise and do not allow these experiences to strengthen the external ego. Become more humble, become more self-effacing, become more loving and understanding. Don't play the fool by giving yourself reprieve from pranayama, padmasana, deep meditation, self-inquiry, and exquisite personal behavior. Having once attained even a small semblance of samadhi, do not let that attainment fade into memories of the past. The admonition is, once enlightened, stay enlightened. Thank you, Gurudeva. Verse 52. Through samyama on the now and its sequence, wisdom born of discrimination is acquired. Wisdom is a lofty goal, and Patanjali offers a path to its attainment, performing samyama on the nature of time itself. Specifically, he enjoins the yogi to focus the mind on the tiniest measure of time called kshana. Commentators speak of it as the smallest imaginable or measurable increment of time that taken for an atom to move across its diameter. In other words, almost infinitely brief. We have proposed this as an exploration of the eternity of the moment, the now. Understanding the now in its manner of flowing into the next now, and the next gives insight into time and thus the nature of reality. So now is the only moment, says Gurudeva. So a deeper perception. If you take away all thoughts of past and future, it's now. That's really all that exists, is the now. Past and future are just concepts superimposed on the now. Well, let's see what Gurudeva says. Only by experiencing and acquiring the ability to re-experience through the practice of yoga the eternity of the moment can the aspirant allow deeper and deeper access to the fullness of his being. Thus, arriving at the now, if only for an instant, begins the auspiciousness of the moment, after which the project should be begun. By thus meditating and through this practice, inner results infiltrate worldly undertakings, and the opposing forces succumb to the clarity of your perceptions derived through initially being aware in the now, if only for a few seconds. When you are experiencing the totality of the moment, you are not aware of the past, nor are you aware of the future or anything within the externalities of the mind. You are aware of the akasha, the primal substance of the superconsciousness of the mind. And another one. You are able to have a continuity of intuitive findings within it and gain much knowledge from within yourself. For the beginner on the path, the concept of the eternity of the moment is refreshing, and he does touch into it occasionally when he tries to meditate. This is encouraging to him, and he gains a new impetus to pursue his inner life more courageously than before. It is impossible to intellectually try to experience the here and now state of consciousness as it is impossible to describe the feeling one would have standing on the top of a tall mountain. Only through experience can these transcendental states be known. Therefore, become perfect in yoga. Your rewards will be great and your future sublime. Verse 53. Then arises discernment of the difference between two things that appear the same by category, characteristics, and location. This sutra explains while two entities may appear identical by category, characteristics, or location, the discerning yogi can clearly discern their differences. One commentator gives the example of a scientist examining two seemingly identical gold coins. While the normal observer regards them as indistinguishable, the scientist, with his microscope, can see their differences. And Gurudeva, discrimination is the result of an abundance of lymph in the brain through transmutation of the vital forces. The vital sexual forces, when transmuted, feed the brain, but first of all, the chakras leading up to the brain. And not only discrimination, which is depth of perception, is enhanced, but many other soul qualities as well, such as expanding consciousness, seeing through and into inner worlds, and more. Verse 54. Wisdom born of discrimination is the liberator, encompassing everything in all spheres and all circumstances simultaneously. This sutra describes a profound and liberating form of knowledge, arises from viveka khyati, discriminative discernment. Such knowledge is not bound by the usual limitations of time and sequence. It encompasses all objects in every possible manifestation. The reference to simultaneity is a nod to the earlier insight that all things exist in the present moment, free of past and future. He also mentions such knowledge comes from spontaneous insight and intuition, not from study and books. And Gurudeva, the sub-superconscious mind and the mystically inclined soul, well perfected in Kriya, longs for realization of Shiva's two perfections, Satchidananda and Parashiva. Through yoga, he bursts into the superconscious mind, experiencing bliss, all-knowingness, and perfect silence. It is when the yogi's intellect is shattered that he soars into Parashiva, comes out a yoni. Each time he enters that unspeakable nirvikalpa samadhi, he returns to consciousness more and more the knower. He is the liberated one, the Jivan Mukta, the epitome of Kaivalya, perfect freedom, far-seeing, filled with light, filled with love. One does not become a jnani simply by reading and understanding philosophy. The state of jnana lies in the realm of intuition beyond the intellect. So that's an important point in Gurudeva's teachings. One does not become a jnani simply by reading and understanding philosophy. There's some teachers that present jnana in that way and want us to study lots of books and philosophy. So that's not our parampara. And 55. When the purity of the luminous mind becomes equal to that of the Purusha, liberation ensues. As a perfectly clear mirror faithfully reflects an image, so the perfectly purified mind perceives the self. They are, of course, not the same, but the equivalence is nearly identical. Commentary. The absence of kleshas, especially avidya or ignorance, is the yogi's pinnacle, bringing in its wake the freedom known as kaivalya. The aloneness and perfect freedom he has sought and worked toward, and which will be the subject of the following pada, but not today. And Gurudeva, union with God. He has removed the veils of ignorance, removed the obstacles to understanding. He has come into the obstacles to understanding avidya, right? He has come into his true being, union with God, union with Shiva, and in this serene state, he sees God as his beloved, as that which is dearer to him than life itself, as he is consumed by that all-encompassing love. There is for him no more an inner and an outer life and consciousness, for they have melted and merged into a single continuum. So that's what we're trying for, is to break down these differences between secular and sacred, inner and outer. Single continuum. He is that, and for him it is clear that all are that. Unknown to himself, he has become the temple of his religion, capable of imparting knowledge merely by the power of his silent presence. He has become the source of light and dharshana, which radiate out through the nadis and pranas of his being. This great soul is found in his reveries, sweeping the temple floor, polishing brass lamps, weaving fragrant garlands, expounding smriti, and being the humble Siva Nadiyar, slave to the servants of the Lord as he lives out the final strands of karma of this last birth. Reminds me of a story. Gurudeva was weeding in a small patch of landscaping. He was doing the weeding, and monks walked by him and he said, "I'm straightening out the karmas." So to Gurudeva, there's no difference between the inner and the outer. What he's doing in the outer is also what he's doing in the inner. So continuum, into a single continuum, inner and outer, sacred and secular. Okay, well, that was a bit long, longer than I thought it was. Path to Shiva, something simple. Lesson 42, how do we use affirmations? How would you answer that question? An affirmation is a positive declaration or assertion that we repeat regularly to bring about useful changes in our life. While repeating the words, we concentrate on the meaning and visualize and feel the desired result. So that's probably not developed here, but that's the key to successful use of affirmations. We have to combine meaning, visualization, and feeling, which is a talk in itself. But feeling relates to what was said before. You manifest something by tuning into the vibration because it already exists. You're tuning into the vibration that it has in already existing. So that's the feeling nature. You're actually tuning into a vibration of it in its finished form. Your words, visualizations, and feelings have power. They impress your subconscious mind. When they are positive, useful, and creative, they make you more secure, successful in everything you do. Affirmations must be carefully worded to gain the desired effect. The sadhana is to repeat it to yourself for a minute or two, ideally at the same time each day. Silently is good, but aloud is even better. For example, I can, I will, I am able to accomplish what I plan. Repeating this each day programs your mind with confidence and increases your willpower. But just saying the words is not enough. You must really feel, I can, I will, I am able. Imagine what it will feel like when you accomplish your goal. It is helpful to remember the feeling of success you experienced when you achieved something in the past. Positive affirmations help you face life with optimism. Negative thinking does the opposite. Many people think, I can't, I won't, I'm not able. And sure enough, they fail. Why? Because they have programmed their mind to fail. An affirmation creates the opposite effect. You see the goal clearly and feel yourself attaining it. Success follows naturally. Gurudeva's other affirmations include, I'm all right now. All my needs will always be met. And I am equal to any challenge I meet. Affirmation builds a positive concept. This means knowing that you are a worthy person deserving a wonderful life and fully capable of achieving it. Having such a positive concept allows us to identify with our inner spiritual nature so that we truly feel we are a divine being on a perfect path. Thank you so much.